Yo, what up, everybody? To turn bark time. We are back. You disappeared there for a short time. I'm the turn.
I'm the bark.
We are going to be here for a long, long time. How are you doing, Mr. Barker?
Well, we're getting near the end of the school year. The SBAs have all of the pencils have been sharpened and put back in their boxes for next year. And the SBA fairies are taking our data so we may appease the almighty test gods.
We're
Oh,
on ELAPT. We got one more day of it. And then all that's left is ELA Cat and science for those eighth graders. So we're chugging right along. Got one track meet tomorrow in Ephrata, and then JO championships on Saturday.
good old Kashmir.
I think it's on. What are they on? The 87th now. I think is what they're on. The 87th running of the Junior Olympics.
Oh, good for them. They run a good track meet.
They do. They really do. So we're back though. Took a couple weeks off. I got to go to a judicial institute. Shout out to the Eastern District, U.S. District Court of Eastern Washington. Parker, fun fact: do you know how many total district courts there are? Not courthouses, but just districts there are in the United States.
I do not know off the top of my head.
You take a stab. Take a stab. 50 states. You know everyone's got at least one. So
153.
ooh, a little high. 94. But that's a lot.
A lot of courts.
It is. There's a lot of court, and that's not even all the courthouses. But, folks, we have some backtracking to do. I believe, was it the last episode we recorded? Was it before the NFL draft? It had to have been, right?
It was.
It was. Okay. So, Barker, 2 questions were asked at the end of the episode. The first question you absolutely annihilated, and that was, would there be over 3.5 trades in the first round? Barker, there were 8 trades in the first round. You annihilated that bet. Second question you were asked was, would the Seahawks actually make a first round pick? And they did. Jadarian Price from Notre Dame is the new Seahawks running back. How exciting. So even though you didn't get the court question right, you still are 2 for 2 on draft day decisions. I respect that. So we are on, because I skipped my lingo, we're on season 7, episode 9. For a little Q&A. We put out a post 2 weeks ago, last week, kind of asking for any questions you guys had. Fielded a couple, and we got a couple questions for each other. So, Bark, I'm going to start this off. Do you want question 1 or question 2? You don't know which one's
Question 1.
You get question 1. Question 1, we are going to start off with what is the most interesting topic that you wish you could do an episode on, but there is not enough content?
All right. So shout out to Kendra.
Yep.
This comes from Grand Junction, Colorado.
We'll love that.
As she is attending Colorado Mesa University. Man, I was thinking about this. And it goes back for me. I think that it's like the peopling of like the Americas.
Ooh.
And it goes back to the idea that like the accepted thesis is that we crossed the land bridge Beringia and came down the ice-free corridor from Canada to America, then ate all the horses. But there's other people, like we were talking before we started recording, and this has been kind of something that I've been kind of on a kick for the last couple of years, talking about the peopling of Polynesia or the Pacific Islands, where these people with very small, relative to like European and Chinese boats, navigated the open ocean in very small canoes and proved that they knew what they were doing. Could they have not gotten from point A to point B? And there's also like evidence of, there's just not solid evidence because like there's no written history. So really anything that happens before recorded history.
Right.
I just finished that book about Chamorro culture on the Marianas and Guam, and they said that like, well, they really don't have any contemporary. They have zero accounts from like the actual like islanders of their encounters with the Spanish, because like everything we have is the Spanish coming and then like eventually talking and then processing what the indigenous people said. But we just, any time in history where we have an indigenous source that doesn't have a written history,
Right.
like that side of the story is completely lost. And I've also been extremely intrigued by the time period where humanity was operating like the rats from Ratatouille, where there had to have been a person in the tribe where they said, "Hey, Bill, eat this." And we just saw what happened with Bill. Did he like kick off? Did he go on a wicked cool trip?
Yeah.
Or does his tummy hurt and did he get diarrhea?
Yeah.
So
I like that.
that's where my brain went.
No. I'm for it. I'm for it. Mine went down the rabbit hole, something similar, right? Legends that we know of. Um, and so like the first thought was Atlantis. Like Atlantis is something that always has fascinated me, and it's probably from the Disney movie, which shout out to that Disney movie. I had a question the other day and someone said, "What's your favorite Disney movie?" I wasn't allowed to cop out with Star Wars or any of the Marvel series. And so I thought about it for a while and I was like, I think it's got to be Atlantis, like good old Milo Thatch, right? Like getting the job done. Um, and probably people have strong opinions and disagree and everything like that. But like that theory of like there was a continent of people who were super advanced and it just disappeared into the ocean. But that led me to my second thing, which was that we have a major flood story in almost every culture around the world's um what do I say? Folklore, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And so it's interesting, like what actually happened? Like what's our flood? What's our cause? What's our, and we have some stuff, but it's not nothing's gonna be ever finalized probably for that. But that was kind of like my big one, right? Is something happened, water, right? People had to move, and now there's a continent at the bottom of the ocean. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, hold on. Second caveat.
Okay.
So another one, I guess maybe that's not as, maybe you might call that a cop out because I'm talking about prehistory as being what we want more history on.
I don't think that's a cop out. I don't think so because we would talk about these topics if there was more information on it. We could talk about them, but we would talk about them for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that, everything would be like theorized from then on.
My other two little caveats I'm going to throw in there. And I often bring them up when I taught eighth grade, and I bring it up when we talk about World War II now. So my first one is, I wish we had more sources from free Black people living in the American colonies and understanding what that experience was like.
Yes.
And the second one that I think would be really, well, I'm third one just popped into my head too. The second one though is the experience of Chinese Americans or other Asian immigrants living on the West Coast during Chinese exclusion or Japanese exclusion. And
Okay.
like, how do you prove that you're not Japanese to people who just go, you ain't from around here?
Yeah.
I think those would be really interesting. And then the third one is, in the time period of segregation, what did that look like? And it's probably out there and I just probably haven't found it yet, but what was the experience like in like high Latino communities where, when they said that there was school, it wasn't like necessarily white and Black, but it was like during segregation, did Asian American students and Hispanic American students get segregated into colored schools? You know what I mean? It's like, what was their experience outside of just the idea? Like we tend to think of it as this dichotomy of Black and white, when in reality it was a beautiful mosaic of colors, but how did we decide
Oh yeah.
who went where?
Yeah.
Um, anyway, those are.
No, those are good. Yeah. I would
I'm a great
think
pontificator.
you are. You are a phenomenal pontificator. Yeah, I think those are, I mean, that kind of covers, I think that's a really good question though, of just some of those things that are just kind of fun to talk about. So, all right. Question numero dos comes from,
The other side of the mountains.
yes, yes, it does. You want me to field this one to start with?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So do you want me to read it?
yeah. Go ahead and read it.
So this is from a Quincy alum who's currently at EWU. I think we surmised.
I believe so. Yes. No. Is he at? Is he at EWU? I think he's at EWU. We're gonna go in and confirm this because I am uh, not because I also know that there was interest from Idaho, but I think it's EWU. I think. Therefore, I am. Anyway, continue, Barker.
Based on his post, it's a strong possibility that he's in Cheney.
Yes.
Um, says I start student teaching in the fall. What are some tips from you guys as vets?
Oof.
We're now the unks.
We are, and I'll take it every time, and you know you will too. Oh man, it's such a good question. I am gonna say so. The first thing that I really, really remember about student teaching is I was told to just be myself, right? Whoever you are, right? As a person, your personality is who you are. Don't try and be different people. Um, I'm an outgoing person. I'm loud. I tell stories. I'm that's my style, and so that's what I really really enjoy doing. But like I point to other teachers who are loved and students really appreciate that are a lot quieter than I am. Right? It doesn't always have to be a jump on your desk and go for it. So my first tip is just to be yourself. Embrace who you are as a person and bring that energy and passions that you have to your classroom. What do you got?
I think about student teaching. Student teaching was a while ago. Um, don't be afraid to get to know your building. One of those crazy things that tends to happen. I mean, even with people who work in buildings, is like you just go into your classroom and you're in your classroom all day, and then at the end you clock in, clock out. It's like, you know, build relationships with people. Like always be cognizant of that too, that like as your student teaching and you're like, well, I'm never going to see these people again. People know people. Like it's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. My field supervisor at WSU was good friends with Scott Ramsey's dad. And when I interviewed at Quincy, I was coming off of 2 years in Kuwait, and it just so happened to be the department chair at that time and taught in Kuwait. So I mean, like, regardless of where you're at, like somebody, as weird as it sounds, if you're staying, even when I went overseas, like there was somebody else who taught in the same town that I'm from. There was a dude that had a basketball shirt from my alma mater.
Yeah.
He bought it at Goodwill in Toronto.
Yep.
And then I came back to the States and I've coached against some of those guys that I taught with overseas in Kuwait. So I mean, like, always be mindful that you're keeping your bridges open, and that it's about networking and making sure that you are a positive influence as best as you can be. And like, just I've been blessed to land in, like, well, in the States, land in two schools where it's pretty good environment that are very similar. And I know that there's some districts around the world where if you get in there, it seems like everybody is a dog eat dog world. But if you can find a
Yeah.
good team of people to work with, don't feel like you have to carry the world by yourself. You don't have to invent every single thing that you're doing. A lot of education is borrowing, air quotes, ideas from other people and then
It
just
really
tweaking
is.
it to make it work for you and your kids.
Oh yeah. That leads me to because that leads me to my next one, like the borrowing and stuff like that, is another piece of advice that I always give teachers. And I've been fortunate enough to have one, two, three, four. Been fortunate enough to have four student teachers over my time as teaching so far. And one of the biggest things is if you have an idea, just give it a shot, right? Just try it. Try it. Because here's the thing, Barker and I will be the first to tell you that we have crashed and burned so many lessons, so many things that we were so excited for, and they just. But the cool part about it is, and as you get going, you start to realize when a lesson is crashing and burning, and you just you cut it. You say, "Hey kids, like what I had in mind doesn't seem like it's working. Let's switch to this." And that comes with time and comes with practice. But like, just go out there and bring every piece of passion. And I can confirm you do go to EWU. I did follow that up and check up my sources. So, but one of the biggest things that I cannot wait to see is just to see the joy you bring to kids and stuff like that. Because I got to use this is Patrick, by the way. Patrick, I realized we name dropped Kenra, but not Patrick. But you're a fun guy to teach, and you're gonna bring that same energy and passion. And you're into sports, right? Barker and I use sports analogies all the time, and sometimes you have to explain the actual sport to kids because they don't get it. But it's just yeah, it's just enjoy it and do that. And then the other thing, like Barker said, get to know your building. Don't be afraid to go see other teachers teach. Right, I got paired with a teacher who her name is Linda Hegel, and she's amazing teacher. I believe she's retired now, which is awesome. Uh, but her style and my style are different. I had music blaring when kids came into class. I was more of a jump around and tell stories and build and build and build. And she was very much a more she was a loud personality, but she was still more of a structure in her classroom than I was in my own. And then I went to other teachers' classrooms and I saw what I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. But I still learned an absolute ton from her. So anything
I think
else?
this comes from, I think this is pretty sure this one comes from Barb. Shout out B Holmes,
Yep.
friend of the program.
One of the tens of followers. She has a
One
sticker
of
to
the one
prove it.
proudly one of the tens. Um, keep a good things folder.
Oh yeah.
So it's whether it's like probably a manila envelope if you don't have a classroom just yet, but anytime that you get those little like as teachers we don't get bonus checks unless you're working at some muckety muck school somewhere that probably takes all the fun out of it. But when kids it's how to say this. It's not always about academics. Like there's a lot of I don't know, like impact you can have for kids. And some of it is like you're going to teach them stuff. Like they're going to learn content, but then like you're going to help them like especially if you work in like a high school or middle school, like learn how to navigate situations that they need to solve like in their life. And I'm not talking like huge like crazy like just like you had a problem with an adult and you're not an adult. How do you talk to the adult in a way that doesn't make your problem bigger?
Right.
And then like the big thing, like working at Quincy, when I worked at the middle school, the junior high back in the day, um, teaching those kids as eighth graders and then coaching at the high school and seeing them as athletes at the high school and seeing the difference that was made. And now working at a high school and well, crap, my first date myself here. I think my first groups of kids that I taught in Kuwait, like now have kids that are like midway through elementary school.
Oh,
Um, but like when kids reach out and they ask a question, like even shout out to the Ramsey girls who every once in a while will be like, "Hey, I don't understand what's happening in the world. Will you like what does this mean? What's going on?"
Yeah.
Um, you just need those good time, like when a kid writes you like a little like thank you note, and it can be as sappy as it is, and right, there's different ones like I don't know. I tend to have project kids where like I kind of find kids where I'm like, we do, we have a practice in our building where we put up every kid on campus and we put a dot by a kid that we have as a staff member, you just put a sticker dot next to a kid that if they had a problem, like they would come like a problem with another staff member, or whatever, like a kid would come have a conversation with you if they needed a conversation. And we do it for every kid on campus. And then we go through and we look at who doesn't have a dot. And then we sit there and go, hey, for the last quarter of school, like our job is to try and build a relationship. Somebody in the building needs to reach out and contact this kid and make sure that kid knows that somebody here wants them to be in our building and wants to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have days where you crash and burn. You're going to have days where you think kids hate you.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you just need to go look at that good stuff folder where, you know, a kid says thank you. And then you'll get the random ones where Trevor Malasso drives over the mountains and wants to sit and have lunch after, you know, being God. I don't even know when he graduated. I don't do math like that.
Would have been
But
like, yeah, would have been because he's got to be what, like 24, 25, 24. So same as Tyson, Thornton, and all those guys.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like those when those kids reach out and they want to have a conversation, or you get a call because they're applying for a job, and you're a reference, so like those are the things that bring you joy. So,
Last piece of advice that I have. It's a very simple piece of advice, but it does take it takes time. So my last piece of advice is I remember sitting in Central's what was it? I heard this twice. I heard it once in History 421, which was the like secondary social studies techniques. And then I heard it in Education 311, which was used to be this massive class at Central that was like assessment, behavior, something else in there. But both teachers told us, they said we don't get to decide if we want to be teachers for 3 whole years. And they said, year one, you're trying to figure everything out, right? Year two, you have some figured out, new stuff pops up. And year three is your first year where you're like, okay, I think I got it all together. And so just embrace it, right? And don't sweat the small stuff. Just know that you are making a difference in there. And usually you are the smartest person in the room. Usually. You know the most, you can convey it, right? There might be sub experts on small things, but you, for the most part, know more than them. So, but thank you for the question, Patrick, and good luck. And I look forward to hearing about it because, that's just, we need more teachers that are out there that are good and that care because it's a tough profession to get into with everything going on in the world. So.
like I just sit and pontificate. We had a student teacher. She wasn't in my room, but she was in my department. So, um, I think she was a Wildcat. She was a Central Wildcat. So, um, I don't know. I think my last one is kind of that idea of always understand that you're, and I don't know if it's because we're history teachers, but like learning doesn't stop,
No.
and everything I did when I student taught, I had a split experience. I taught seniors and freshmen, and when I went into to the senior class, he just lost his hard drive. So he was like, make whatever you want, just do whatever you want. And so like I had a ton of free reign in that class, and he essentially followed my lead. And when I went to the freshman course, it was a teacher, John Simpson, who was just getting ready to retire. And he had a PhD from Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah. He's written books like,
So he knew what he was talking about.
yeah, and he was great. And it was never I have a PhD, like be quiet, little pipsqueak. Just two very different experiences where he had a lot of stuff. He'd done stuff a certain, away, and it was just learning from both of them, having two different perspectives on stuff was kind of invaluable. So it's like, don't be afraid to try stuff. And I think the one I remember trying to write a lesson plan and be like, oh, I have to cover like these 3 learning targets today. You don't have to conquer Rome in a day.
Nope.
If you get kids to accomplish one, have one learning objective. I don't know.
Well,
my,
no, but
my one little cynicism is like I always tell kids that I love teaching, but I don't necessarily love education.
that's
Uh,
fair.
I enjoy helping young people learn stuff and get better at stuff. I don't necessarily enjoy like all of the bureaucratic hoops that we have to go through to validate our profession.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to go off topic every now and then, because that's fun too. So, but
Because it all makes sense when you loop it back together.
it really does. And if you can go off topic and get full circle and link it back in, they're just
Again, I think that might be a history specific thing. If you're teaching math or science,
I mean, you never know.
if I taught science, I would teach nothing. I would teach biology through invasive species. That would be like my entire curriculum, which is why I don't teach biology.
That and you're not qualified.
I'm not highly qualified. That's true.
You are not. Oh,
Science.
yep. So, those were.
I crushed some sophomore math today, though.
Did you? What was
I
the
had a
topic?
kid was like, Mr. Barker, they had work time on a 1-pager. Kid came up and says, Barker, I need some help. And I was like, what's wrong with your 1-pager? He goes, no, it's math. And I hadn't seen a logarithm since, I mean, the only logarithm I pay attention to now is like whether the chain's tied on the log truck when it goes by.
Yep, that's good. That's too.
But with a quick Google, it unlocked it. It moved the mound of dust off of the Dead Sea Scrolls up there.
Yep.
And we crushed some logarithms today. So
It's still one of my favorite things to tell kids. Like, I did pass 8th grade math. Like, I did pass 7th grade like science. Like, I can do these things. Because they'll be like, oh, what, can you help me? And I'll be like, yeah. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm sure. So
high school level, I ask, science. I'm like, which science?
yeah, high school level would be a little bit.
If they say physics, I go, nope.
I go, Google it. Which is math. Oh man. All right. Well, Burger, we were gonna ask one more, but we have the 9:23 marker. What do
We can be quick.
You wanna go quick? Okay.
It's,
you gotta go.
We can see the clock we're running against.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I gotta find mine that I was gonna ask you. So if you have yours dubbed up and ready to go.
Yeah, so this comes from the Shutdown Fullcast podcast that my buddy Pat, who farms up in somewhere that's near Tenasket, but not Tenasket, but not big enough to actually have a name that anybody remembers.
Got it.
Sorry, Kate.
So unincorporated Okanagan County. Got it.
Yeah. Their question was, if you were a like media mogul and you have enough money to bring back any sports franchise, what sports franchise or what city would you give a team and in what sport?
I mean, I have the easy answer. Right. The easy answer is like the first thing that pops in my mind is Seattle and bringing back the Supersonics. Like that one is just like I got to watch Sean Kemp play. I got to watch Gary Payton play. Like I got to see that, but there's so many people who didn't. And Seattle, I think, is a phenomenal sports base, and I'm super biased on that aspect. But that's kind of like my one big one. It'd be be that. Now, going back and actually like stepping back and taking time to think about that, I could give any sports, or I could give any state or any place like a sports franchise. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I'd go the Seattle SuperSonics. I don't think there's anything else I would really jump out at. What about you though? I know you knowing you got an answer and you're ready to go.
I've been thinking about this because it irritates me that there's 30 teams in baseball. Um,
Oh,
and so
okay.
somebody the other day I saw an article that was because like with the A's moving and whatnot, and they're talking about expansion to 32. I would say give Portland a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
Because back in the day when I was in college at LCC, we would go and watch. It was super weird because back then, before the Timbers came to town and kicked the Portland Beavers out of their state stadium, we used to go watch the Beavers, which was a AAA affiliate of the Padres. And it
Okay.
was always really weird because we would go and we would root for the Beavers, who ended up being the Padres, and they would often be playing the Rainiers, who
Who
would
would be?
become the Mariners. And
Yep.
then we would turn around a month later and go watch the Mariners play when they played the Padres. And some of those guys that we had rooted for a month ago as Portland Beavers were now on the, you know what I mean? So it's just really interesting how we flip flop back and forth. But I think baseball in Portland would be really neat. And then they could reconfigure the leagues maybe a little bit more geographically. Um, they were looking at it. I was looking at the other day. There was an article of all these cities, and like they're like, "Oh, here's their website." And like Oakland, it's like no website.
Yeah.
Like Oakland has no care in the world to try and bring baseball or save baseball.
Yeah. But if you tell them about the Raiders though, like I think that would be um that would probably be one of their biggest pullbacks.
Yeah, I'm still good for calling the Chargers San Diego, and
Yeah.
the Raiders are still in Oakland.
Yeah. Okay. Um God, I had one and now I'm trying to find it again and I lost it. So what do I got? 5:30? Oh, I can do that. Oh, this one fits you to a T. This is what it was. Barker, what's the most random fact you know?
But now that you say it, it's like random fact that I know.
Or I could change it to what's the most fun fact you know?
Well, I love to use like the fact that there's more like sheep in New Zealand than there is people.
It's a good
Like
one.
that's always a fun one to throw out.
Yeah.
Um, and like stuff that we've used on the channel, like the fact that the average American eats a Dotson's weight in chocolate a year. Um, the fact that the Spanish Empire used to give the Peruvians, when they shoved them in the mines, give them coca leaves, and it was twofold because it was a social upgrade because only the royals got to chew on the coca leaves before the Spanish arrived.
Yep.
And then the Spanish did it because they realized that when they were high, they would mine more and didn't eat as much food.
Yep. It's
So
genius.
it's usually kind of like macabre stuff like that that I throw out.
Okay. I like it. I
What's
like
your fun fact?
it. My fun fact. Oh well. hmm,
I can explain scaphism to kids, the
that's pretty
boats, which is always fun.
bad. I think my fact that I like to say all the time is the one that we did. We did the pod on it. I think it was our first pod ever, and it was who was the first president of the United States. And I always say it's John Hanson, and then kids are like, "What?" I'm like, "No, don't. If you're on Jeopardy, please just say George Washington." But the coolest part about that too is that it led to that full discussion. Like your research found that the word president literally changed its definition because of the way we handled that executive. But that's always the one that I just love to. And then all I could think about is you being like, yeah, and then there was a guy after him who was president of the National Appaloosa Club, and he got to be president too.
Arabian Horse Club.
Arabian Horse Club, that's what it was. I knew it had to do with horses. So
It's always got to be some random example. Jeez
exactly.
Louise.
Exactly. Or I had another one that I think is really funny too. I guess I always like the sports facts too, right? Like the free kick, like the fair catch kick rule that we've seen more recently than not, where you try, because especially with some of those kickers now, like they might be able to try it. So
yeah, I've been stealing a lot of stuff recently from the Drop the Pin show, where like he was asking like what country in the world has more horses than people.
yeah, that I have a guess, but I'm not sure if it's right.
You have a minute 45.
Is it Mongolia?
It is.
Okay, that was my guess.
Because I will also love the fact we were doing practice senior presentations this week, or we have been for the last couple of weeks. One of the presenters, it's a girl that I taught AP World History to. Shout out to Hadley, who doesn't listen to this podcast. Not that I'm aware of, but she referred to a book series that she started reading as her Roman Empire. She goes, my Roman Empire is this book series, is Shadowhunters. And I was like,
that's good.
I don't know if that was a regular comment or if that was a specific for Mr. Barker comment, but it was great.
It works either way.
But anyway, we need to wrap this shindig up.
We got 1 minute left. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of your week. And other than that, I'm the Turn.
I'm the Bart.
And we are going to be here a long, long time. Have a good night, everybody.
Be safe.
And by golly, you be well.